Hello and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Speak Life podcast. We are so excited to have you with us for another amazing week.
Another amazing week.
I'm your host, in case you forgot about me because it's been so long. I'm Minister Phoenix, and I'm going to be guiding us through this journey that we will be on today, alongside this beautiful and amazing woman that I get to co-host with every week and has been married to for soon to be 20 years. Before you know it, we'll be at 20.
Years.
Who are you?
20 years. Oh, hey, welcome to the Speak Life podcast.
They may not remember
this
you.
Is your co-host, the one and only Sheikah. I am so glad to be back.
It's crazy.
It's been a
while.
while.
We've been gone. It feels like we've been gone forever.
For a while, yeah.
You know, it has been a while. You know, we haven't really posted anything since like Thanksgiving. Since before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And you wasn't even here for that episode. It was me and Elisha.
Yes.
But
a lot has been happening.
It was a crazy end of the year. You know, we had a lot going on. It's like right after Thanksgiving, there's some sickness. Then we had a loss. And then we had some more sickness. And then we're like, huh? Like, what is going on? I felt like
happening.
Marvin Gaye, like, what's going on?
What's
going on?
Yes.
But we happy to be back. Happy
We're
New Year to all y'all.
Happy New Year.
Belated holidays.
Yes,
and
everything. Ooh.
everything else that we missed. Hopefully your Thanksgiving was good because
Christmas.
it's been a while. It's really been a while, but it feels good to be back.
It feels good to be
I
back.
will say it does feel good to be back. You know, so shout out to our listeners. I know y'all were like, probably like, where'd they
I
go?
know.
What,
so many people has been
stop?
saying, what happened to the podcast?
Is the podcast still a thing? I was like, what? The podcast will always be a thing.
I know.
Disrespecting the podcast like that.
I got people all the way in Jamaica saying, what happened to the podcast?
It just seemed like we dropped off the map. But no, we didn't forget about y'all. Shout out to y'all listeners. Shout out to our subscribers. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. And, you know, we're happy to have you. You know, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, you know, so you can be a part. Make sure you comment. Got to comment to be a part of these conversations. I haven't said it in a while, so I'm a little rusty, but make sure you comment so that you can be a part of these conversations. And, you know, shout out to y'all who keep rocking with us. We appreciate y'all, even though, you know, it's been a crazy end of the year. You know, still rocking with us, and
God has been faithful. I must say
that is one thing I will say.
He has been faithful.
You know, they probably even seen the service when we streamed the service because it was on the channel.
Oh yes, that's true.
So yeah, as y'all seen, you know, we did have a loss in our family, but God still remains faithful. You know, so as we said, 2021 ended kind of crazy. It did.
And then 2022 started crazy.
And 2022 started crazy, you know. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
It's how you finish.
That kind of brought the topic that we're going to talk about today. And today we're going to talk about the COVID experience.
Yeah, don't forget the book.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget the book.
Look,
if you haven't
right
gotten our amazing book, this amazing work right here, When Three Roads Collide, a memoir of God's grace, written by, you know, myself and this amazing woman right here.
Yeah.
This book will change the way you think about what grace really is, and the things that God can do in your life. Go cop one off of Amazon or, you know, Google Books.
Every
Goodreads.
Online.
You could Google us and it'll pop up. Every online bookstore. Target, Barnes and Noble, Walmart. You name it, you can find it. There's no reason for you not to have that book. Go get the book. Stop playing. Go get the book. Yes.
All right.
So as I was saying, with everything that happened, you know, the end of the year into this year and the beginning of the year, we gonna title this episode the COVID experience.
Oh, the COVID experience.
The COVID experience. So what happened was right after Thanksgiving, literally right after Thanksgiving, I woke up on Black Friday and I was like, whoo, the boy's not feeling so good. And it turned out that your boy had COVID. And fortunately enough, none of y'all got COVID.
Yeah, we didn't get it.
None of the kids got COVID.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like we was good.
We were good.
And then your girl got COVID.
Oh, well, no. That's not even how it went down. So from November.
Okay, so you actually want to do the whole timeline. All right, tell them the timeline. Yeah. I cut straight to the chase. Right, you give them the timeline of what happened in proper perspective.
So the whole timeline of like when we wasn't here
Yes.
on the podcast, he got COVID and he wasn't doing well. He had it hit him really bad.
COVID got me.
And after COVID, in the midst of everything, even before COVID, one of my close aunt, very close to me, she was battling stage 4 lung cancer. So in the midst of us trying to go back and forth with work, school, I'm trying to deal with the sickness of her and being a mother, being a wife, still have things that we have to do. So after that whole experience of, Minister Phoenix catching COVID, then
it was probably like a week and a half.
Yeah. Then my aunt passed away. And then it's like, okay, preparing for the funeral.
And that takes a lot.
Going through everything. And it's right around the holiday season.
Literally.
Right around Christmas. So it was just a lot. And then after that, I got COVID.
Well, first we made it through Christmas.
Made it through the funeral. Everything was good. But then I got COVID on December 2nd. That's when I actually started feeling sick.
Nope. January 2nd. We crossed over.
Yeah, right. Yeah. How did I get December?
I don't know.
January.
You was trying to go back in time.
January 2nd is when I started feeling sick.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, my throat is a little itchy, but I think I'm good. It's just because I was out. It was like crossing over service.
Yeah.
We was out.
He was out.
Doing a lot of praising, shouting, just celebrating, coming into the new year.
Yes.
And I just thought maybe your girl was just screaming too much.
Maybe she was yelling
too much. So I was like, okay, my voice is just not used to all this, strain. So I was like, that's what was going on. But then, come to find out, on the 3rd,
COVID popped up like, surprise!
I was like,
Happy New Year!
I mean, I went to church. I went to church because remember that Sunday morning, I took a test.
You
tested? I was like, yes. I was
tested.
Let me take a test because I just don't like the way I'm feeling. Let me take a test. And I swabbed myself. I took the test.
Negativo.
It says negative. So
No
I'm like,
cold.
all right, I'm good. I'm going to church. I'm not staying home.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing can hold me down. I am going to church.
I'm starting this new year all right.
Right. So I went to church, and in church I just felt a little weird, like, because before that, the night, the Saturday night, I took some cough medicine to try to soothe my
The cough
throat.
medicine will get you every time.
And I was like, okay, maybe I didn't get enough sleep, so I felt a little weird, just didn't feel right. So I was like, okay, it's the cough medicine. I'm going to blame it on the cough medicine. So when I took the test and it was negative, I'm like, it's definitely the cough medicine. So I was like, I'm going to go to church. But the whole time in church, I still wasn't feeling right. I was just like, I felt like I was like just like a fog. And I came home and I'm like, you know what, babe? I'm going to go lay down because I'm not feeling too well. I'm going to go lay down. And before I was like, before I lay down, why don't I go take another test?
I just ain't feeling. Let me
take another test.
One.
Took another test. Voila!
It was like, hi, my name is Cove.
It
nice
was positive.
To meet you.
I was like, you got to be kidding me!
Yeah,
I just came from church.
I just came from church.
But luckily, I was wearing my mask. Always do. So I wasn't worried that I was gonna infect anybody or that I infected anybody. But yeah, so then that whole week I was home.
Yep.
And
Marie was not.
And you guys went to work. You went to work. The kids went to school. And I was home.
All right, so let's talk about this because this for me, this was a crazy experience. This is with everything going on and in the news and everything. It is very easy to have a whole bunch of opinions about COVID and
Wait, sorry, honey. So because I know people people probably thinking like, wait, how did y'all go to work? How did y'all go to school? How did the kids go to school?
We're gonna talk about all that stuff.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify and make sure no one think that you guys were coming close contact.
Oh yeah, we were just sending people who's like, you've been in contact, you going. No. We gonna go into all that. We are gonna go into all that.
Just wanted to,
But I want to start off with this piece. What were some of the first symptoms that you noticed for you with COVID? Like
the first symptom was my throat felt itchy. It felt scratchy. It felt like I'm like I kept like thinking like, oh, it's just maybe a little bit of like I catch up a draft. In my culture, Jamaican culture, we think like
because we don't know what that means.
It's like you go outside, it's too cold, and you just, because of the coldness, it start irritating your throat, and you're coming down with a little cold or something. Yes. So I thought that's what it was.
Yeah.
And that's why I took the cough medicine.
Yeah. Because I remember for me, like on Thanksgiving, I was outside in my hoodie. I was grilling. I was grilling and everything. I was like, I woke up the next day. Throat felt a little scratchy. I felt a little congested. I'm like, maybe I should have actually put on a coat yesterday.
Yeah, you didn't have a coat.
And I was like, and then I started with the little, I was like, this cough, man, and I felt the congestion. So I'm like, dang, maybe I'm coming down with a cold. Maybe that's what it is. It did. From then, it was like, strap on, let's get ready.
Let's go for the ride.
Let's get ready for the ride. And this is the piece I really want to talk about before we really talk about, the experience and everything. It's like, for you, how did it feel when you realized that you were actually positive?
How did it feel? So at first I was just like, you got to be kidding me. I was more so worried about work. That's the first thing that came to my head is work. True. Because I was just off for a whole week. And it's literally, a day before I would have to go back to work. And not only that, I was not only out for a week, I was out for 2 weeks.
For the funeral,
because I took a week off because of the funeral and all the planning and the arrangement. And then the following week, we went on winter break. Now I'm like, I've been out of work for 2 weeks.
Already.
And now I'm going to have to be out of work again? So man. I was really worried about work because I was just like, okay. My principal was okay with giving me the time off. And then we had the week break. And now I gotta call her to tell her that But then after getting over that hump and like just getting the courage to actually, because I'm like, either way I'm gonna have to. I can't go to work. So I just got the courage of. First, I called the nurse, and the nurse is like, "Well, you got to go through her because she's the." And I'm like,
"She's the boss."
So, excuse me. So then, I called her, and I didn't get her. She didn't answer the phone. I was like, "Oh gosh!" So then I sent her an email, and when I sent her the email, she responded to the email, and then I told her I would, let her know how everything is going, and she was like, "Okay, feel better," and I was like, "Okay. I gotta feel better." All right. So I felt good about her the way she responded. And so then after I went in quarantine, I was just like, okay, I can't be out for 10 days. I gotta just be out for 5 days.
I know for me, when they first told me I was positive, I was kind of upset. I ain't even gonna lie. I was mad because I'm like, I had been in person since last April. I'd been there. I got my mask on, washing my hands, like the whole nine. And then it waits until like after I'm on break, and then it's like, hello, sir.
When it was time for you to go back to work.
And that's the thing. It's like we was on Thanksgiving break, and then it's like time to go back, and it's like, hi, my name is COVID. I'm about to ruin the next 2 weeks of your life.
That was before the CDC actually cut it down.
Yeah, I think I think I was still in Delta territory. I was in like, and I always wonder about that. It's like, what's Cove thinking? It's like, yo, Delta, you want to take this one? Or you got the original Cove, like, I done served my time. I'm gonna retire for a bit. Yeah, he's like, go on, Delta, go do your thing, boy, go do your thing. And then like Delta's like, all right, I had a good run. I'm a con, get up in here.
Like tag you
know, it's like it just feels like it's like one after the other.
And honestly, where did they get these names from?
I don't know. I think they're all coming from like somewhere in the Greek alphabet. You know, but then it's like when I got sick, I'm like, I was confused. I was super confused, like because when I was with the symptoms that I had, I was like, maybe I got the flu. I was like, maybe.
Yeah, because you had a fever.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that with the experience piece, but it's like I'm going to the doctor like maybe I got the flu. I was like, God, please don't let it be pneumonia, because I was like, it's either the flu or pneumonia. I didn't think I had COVID. I'm like, I'm around the same people all the time. I don't go anywhere.
No.
Like how it can't be COVID. I'm like I'm like with the way my chest was feeling, I was like maybe it's pneumonia. I was like, God, please don't let it be pneumonia. So I'm like going to the hospital to get tested, and I'm like praying like, Jesus, please let this be the flu and not pneumonia. Please let this be the flu and not pneumonia. And then I get to the hospital, they're like, we're gonna test you for the flu. We hear your lungs, so we don't think it's pneumonia. I was like, thank you, Lord, it's not pneumonia. So then they come back and then like, bad news. You got COVID. And I look at the doctor, I'm like, I got what? She's like, you got COVID. I was like, how? She's like, I was going to ask you the same thing. Because I'm like super confused. I'm like, how did I get COVID? Like, I do everything right. How did I get COVID?
So you think.
So I thought. Yeah. And so I was more upset. And it's like, you hear all these like deaths and everything that happens to it. So it's like, dag, is this going to be that bad? Because you don't know how you're gonna react to it. How's your body gonna react to this COVID situation? Know. Am I gonna get? Because I've seen people who don't got symptoms like that. You see people who have a mild case of symptoms. You see people who got these horrible cases of symptoms. So you're like, Lord,
like what's gonna happen to me?
What's gonna happen to me? And I think with that was like the big thing that was like really running through my mind. You know, once I found out like I was positive with it, I was like, oh gosh, I hope this doesn't suck. So let's talk about the good stuff. What was your COVID experience like? Walk us through your COVID experience.
So the first day, it was just like the scratchiness of my throat. I felt a little congested. What else? And I was coughing a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what I was experiencing. But then, after day 1, going into day 2, day 3, I started feeling weak. My body was aching, chills. Like, I didn't have the fever. I didn't have any fever. Headache.
Oh, gosh.
That was horrible. The headache was horrible. At one point, I was like, God, please. Because my chest started hurting. Like pain, like aching. And I was like, God, please. Don't let me start having difficulty to breathe. Like, just help me. And every so often, I would just keep praying, like, just help me, because I'm home by myself, because you guys wasn't here. And I would sleep. I did a whole lot of sleeping. And I was taking a whole lot of Tylenol and Advil for my headache, cough syrup. So, yeah, that's how it was. At least what I can remember.
You had your run, but COVID definitely gave me a run for my money. I will say that. Like, Not a fun experience. Like, and now I like think back on like those like you would hear like on the news where people like this COVID thing is a hoax. Like,
no, it's not.
This COVID thing is no joke.
Mm-mm.
Like, cause I remember like the first day it was like the scratchy throat, the coughing, the congestion. I'm like, gosh, and then when the headaches came,
yeah, the headaches were bad.
Gosh, like I don't know what a migraine feels like per se. Yeah. I don't get migraines.
It wasn't really like because I get migraine sometimes, but it wasn't like a migraine. It was different.
My headaches, I've never had a headache that when I take Tylenol, the headache is just like, I'm sorry. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. We in this for the long haul. It's me and you, brother.
You and I.
We are going to enjoy this moment. And I was not enjoying the moment. I was taking 2 Tylenol, 3 Tylenol. And I was like, hold on. Maybe if I try the Advil, maybe the Advil will help. Advil liquid gels. And the headache was like, listen, you may not understand this. I'm not going anywhere. And I was like, oh gosh. I was like, this is bad. And then when it came to the Saturday night, I think the Saturday night was when I realized, like, yo, something is wrong. Because that's when the fevers started. And it would be, like, burning up, like, to the point where it's, like, sweating. Because I remember, I'm, like, in the bed, I'm, like, changing my shirt. You're like, babe, you're hot. I was like, you're like, I think you got a fever. I'm like, I don't think so. And it's like, so then I'm like switching my shirt because I'm burning up. And then 2 seconds later, I'm freezing cold. So then I got the hoodie on under the covers. And I'm like, it's so cold. It's so cold.
I'm like, no,
you're like, something ain't right. I'm like, I am like shivering, freezing. And then it's like, boom, now it's back to being burning hot again. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, and I remember you was like, listen, tomorrow you're going to the hospital.
Yes, because I'm like, this ain't normal.
Like, you need to call whoever you need to call. You ain't going to no one's church. Because remember, my voice started acting up.
Yes,
I had like
you couldn't even talk.
I had like the seemed like my voice was gone.
Leaving.
And she's like, how are you going to sing tomorrow? I was like, I don't know. I've been practicing. I've been trying to figure it out. But the Saturday night, she was like, you, sir, are going nowhere but the hospital tomorrow.
Exactly.
Call who you need to call. You ain't going. Call the hospital, go to the hospital, and then it's like, then she's like, all right, COVID, you out the room. Quarantine time. We did quarantine. I do want to put that out there, and that's what you were saying earlier. We did quarantine. Y'all couldn't go because we didn't know what was going on before, so, it was counted as a close contact. Y'all had to wait.
But then everything changed when the CDC.
Yeah, once the CDC got their rules and their things was a little different.
So for you, we all had to stay
everyone,
home.
Even if they wanted to
for
go,
the 10 days.
Go.
But
we were
then
there.
when I got it,
it was
everything was different. So it was like 5 days. So it was like if you're vaccinated, then you can go just wear your mask, no symptoms.
You check
yeah,
and
exactly.
Everything, so. And
we're all vaccinated, so it was easy.
Yeah. So and then it's like for the time that I was home, it was like. It was crazy because it's like, it would be like fever, headache, coughing. Chills. Fever, chills. Fever, chills. It's like, I would be doing like normal stuff. I'd be like, all right, I'm good. And then it's like, boom, freezing cold. I'm like, what in the world is happening? And like, when you talked about the sleep, I've never slept so much before in my life. I remember going to sleep, waking up, it'd be like noon. And you come in like, are you hungry? I'm like, I'm tired. And I go back to sleep for like another 4 hours and wake up and still be like, ugh. And then like the body aches and stuff. It was like, I was like, this is really crazy. Mm-hmm. And the thing that bothered me the most was when I lost my sense of smell and taste. Because like you hear reports of it and it's like, what do you mean you lose your smell and taste? Because that's why I was like, how you lose your smell and taste? Because the whole time is like, I can still smell. I can still taste. And then it's like, it gets to the middle of the week. And I notice I'm like, all the food I'm eating is starting to taste like onions. And I remember telling you that I'm like, everything's starting to taste like onions. Everything's starting to taste like onions. And then everything started to taste like nothing. It's like, I would eat stuff and it just tastes like plain white rice. Just like white rice. No flavor, no gravy, nothing. Just white rice.
No butter.
No
salt.
Nothing. It's like you literally boiled it and decided you were going to eat it. And it's like with that, it's like it's crazy. And I was like, dang. And yeah, that was COVID. And it took like still ain't fully got my taste back. I can smell stuff now. Thank God I can smell stuff now. Still waiting for that taste to come back fully. The cough finally went away. Cough went away like what, end of December?
Yeah, that was the last thing to go.
You still be coughing here and there.
Here and there, I still cough, but I feel like it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, in comparison to what it was, but yeah, COVID's no joke.
Honestly, when you experience it, you could speak differently about it. But when you have not experienced it, then you're just gonna say what you think or what you hear other people talk about. But when you experience it, it's a whole nother ball game.
And my thing is, I'm just really grateful that we never had to spend the night in a hospital.
Exactly.
We weren't hooked up onto any ventilators because we know people who had a very, very different experience. So I'm just grateful that it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah.
And some people would be like, yeah, if you ain't got your shot, get your shot. I can't make that decision for people.
No, you gotta make it yourself. But
and I don't think anyone should make that decision for others. But
yeah, I feel like the fact that we got it, I feel like especially how you were feeling, and how I was feeling, I feel like if I did not get the shot,
I can't even imagine.
It probably would have been a lot more. It would have been a lot worse. So I'm grateful that I got the shot, because I can't even imagine how it would be.
That was not a fun ride. I will say that. I definitely wanted off the cold roller coaster. I did.
At one point, I was like,
no parts of that.
At one point, I was talking to myself, and I'm like, you know what? Nope. This is not gonna keep me in this bed. I'm going to get up. I am going to go outside.
You was the one telling me to go outside. You was
I'm like I am not sitting in this bed any longer.
I was sitting in
I literally, there was one point, remember, I got up, I changed, because I was like, I'm done. This COVID is done. I changed my sheets off of my bed.
Sure did.
I like Clorox wipes, sanitized everything in my room, spray. I was like, I'm over this.
Yeah.
I'm done. And then the next day, I couldn't get out of bed.
COVID was like, you done with who? Who you done with? You ain't done with me. I ain't done with you.
I wanted to get up out of bed, and I was like, I feel so weak.
Oh, gosh.
I can't get up. Like, I went days without eat. Like, when I say days, like, the way I eat. Yeah, it was like
me, I wasn't like, if you wasn't bringing food down, I would have been perfectly fine if you never stepped in this room with anything.
I had no appetite.
Like,
when I was starting to feel better after those few days, I think I was starting to feel hungry, and I was like, okay, I can eat something now. But even now, my appetite is still not back to where it was.
Yeah. It was crazy. I remember you was telling me like, I think you need to get out the room.
Yeah, because at one point I was like, let's go to the park.
I was like,
something where you could be outside and you wear your mask. But I'm like, if you stay in this basement any longer,
and I tried. I went to the park, but then like I got outside. I was like, this is great, and then I was like, I feel horrible.
Yeah, start feeling weak.
I'm going back home, but. I'm just thankful, man, because like I said, it was crazy. It was a crazy experience, and I'm grateful that it wasn't as bad as it could have been. I'm grateful that we didn't spend any time in a hospital. We came out the other end. As bad as it was, we both made it nicely out the other end.
And our children did not get it.
None of them got it.
Both times.
None of them
both
got
it. And then, so God is great. God is great.
And that's the thing. And that's just like the faithfulness of God. It's like at the end of the day, you can do everything right. You can wear that mask.
I still don't even know how I got it.
Listen, I be going through the Rolodex. I think of every single time that I took off my mask. I'm like, there was never anyone around. Like I only, like when I eat lunch and stuff, I eat by myself. I'm around the same people all the time. I'm like, for me, it just didn't make sense. It really didn't make sense to me. But I'm like, what? And I'm like, at the end of the day, God still gets the glory and everything because he kept us through it. And that's the big thing. He kept us through it.
He kept me.
He kept me. He did. And he made me whole. He did. He did.
He sure did.
So we just gonna wrap up this episode. I hope this brings light to where we was and what was going on and why we weren't
it's
here.
Just been a lot.
It wasn't because we don't love y'all. It wasn't because we was giving up on the podcast.
No,
but we was going through it. We was going through it. Literally
going on from literally from even before November with my classes.
Oh gosh. The school.
At one point I reached the point where I was thinking you know what, maybe I just need to take some time off.
Listen,
maybe this is just not
I was right there with you because I was like, maybe I should just
this school
hold
thing
off
is
for
just
now.
not cut out for me. Maybe I just need a break. But something would just not allow me to take a break, because every time I think about it and I'm like, I have a goal, I know what I'm trying to accomplish, and if I take a break, it's gonna set me back, and I can't afford to be set back.
Yeah.
So I just had to I kept
honestly,
pushing. I just kept pushing.
That last class I had, I don't even know how I got through that. like some people be like, no, I don't know how, but seriously, as far as I was behind, I was like,
yeah.
I was like, babe, I think I'm gonna fail this class.
I was watching you and I'm like, oh my, I felt bad. I was like, can I help you with something?
I was like, I really think I'm gonna fail this class.
But this is how the grace of God works.
Lord.
It's only God, because with working, taking care of the family,
it's a lot.
School,
it's a lot.
It was a lot. And then dealing with the fact that my aunt is sick, and then you got COVID, and then my aunt, it was just a lot. But we got a little bit of break, with school.
A little bit
for the winter, and now we're starting back up. But the good news is that
it's almost over.
2022
it is almost over. Yes,
we are done. 2022.
Done.
We're gonna be walking in summer all right, we did it. Yes.
I might do an episode in my cap and gown just because. But yeah. So
yes.
Any wrap up advice for people out there?
Listen, take care of yourself.
Yes.
I don't even, because I know I was taking care of myself. I would wear my mask. I don't like germs. And when COVID came around, I was just like, oh Lord, I just need to be put in a room and be left alone. But then that wasn't working because I had to go to work. So I was doing everything, hand sanitizing, cleaning all the time. That was me. But then I realized that I can't be so worried and scared about COVID. I just have to trust God that He will protect me. So just protect yourself as best as you know how to. And we have experienced where we got it, but because of the grace of God, He allowed us to come out of it. And even though we understand what COVID is and what COVID can do, we felt it, but we were still able to be in the comfort of our home and not having to be in a hospital laid up somewhere with stuff all strapped up to us. But the fact that we were able to just stay in our house, quarantine, keep our germs to ourselves, that was awesome. So it was devastating though at first. We're like, okay, am I going to be one of those few, people who are going to have to go to the hospital and stay there? And how is it going to affect me? It's like, you don't know. Because 1 minute, like I said, I was like, oh, yes, I'm feeling good. I took a shower. I'm great. I'm cleaning up. COVID is done for me. And the next day, it's like, oh, back to square one. So you just never know how it's going to attack you. So.
Yeah, and I would double up on that. What you say, just do what you can to protect yourself. If however you choose to protect yourself, do what you can to protect yourself. Wear your mask. I'm an advocate for wearing masks. Wear the mask. Keep your germs to yourself if you have germs. And that's the thing about masks. People are like, I don't want to wear the mask. Yes, the mask protects other people from your germs and you from other people's germs also. So wear your mask.
And don't wear your mask down here. Cover your nose.
Cover your nose and your mouth.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like,
honestly, I'm like, it's a grace of God, because I be watching these kids and I'm like, how do you not get COVID. Like your mask is over your mouth, but not your nose.
I be having kids rocking
your
it
mask
on their
is down
chin
your
like
chin.
it's a chin strap.
There's
like,
kids who rock their mask on their forehead.
Oh my
like,
goodness.
What are you doing?
Wear your mask, people. Like, stop playing. Wear your mask. Protect yourself as best as possible.
Especially these teenagers.
Who be thinking,
cool.
oh, I'm not gonna drop any names, but you know, a certain teenager in particular
that's in my house
that lives with me, you know, thinks he's getting a little cool in his little cool state with his little dirt around his lip, but you know, but even the teenagers, like, yo, protect yourself as much as possible. Do what you can. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. And just protect yourself and really do your part, and then just leave God with the rest.
And if you get COVID, quarantine. Don't go around people knowing that you're sick. Even if you don't have any symptom. Like, come on. Quarantine.
Be mindful of others in this time too, because like I said, COVID
everyone
is
get
no
it differently,
joke, and you get it different. Everyone experiences it a little different, and you don't want to be one of those people who get those life-shattering cases of COVID, because at the end of the day, it's not fun. It ain't a joke. It's a rough thing to go through.
Exactly.
So we love y'all, man. We really do love y'all. We appreciate y'all, and it feels good to be back.
Feels good to be back.
Don't forget to get our book if you have not got it. When Three Roads Collide, a memoir of God's grace.
Yes.
Don't forget to check out our website, 3roadscollide.com. You can see everything that we're doing. We have all our stuff on there, you know. And of course, you have to remember this, even though we haven't said it. First time in the new year, remember, death in life is in the power of your tongue, so make sure you speak life. We love y'all. Have a great week. God bless you.